When the fish jumped up and fell back into the seawater, John would jump around in joy like small children and start performing somersaults. John used to get immense happiness from these kinds of sights. John was fully enjoying this playfulness when suddenly, golden rays passing over the peaks began to spread on the water of the sea. It began to look as if the seawater was on fire. John looked at Ed, startled. The sun had come up over the hills, and its reflection was visible in the seawater. John was feeling this sight to be very good. Then he felt an unusual vibration in the seawater. There was a turmoil in the sea waves, and a strange condition had arisen. John immediately understood that some dangerous sea monster had come here. Otherwise, such a terrifying vibration could not be in the seawater. Therefore, he immediately took his sword out of the scabbard and became ready to face the sea monster, and began to turn his eyes all around carefully. His eyes were scanning the seawater in an eagle-like manner, and then he finally saw that monster. That terrifying monster, with its head out, was swimming rapidly towards John. John became ready to fight it. Now horror and ferocity began to clearly reflect from his eyes. He himself began to look like a terrible monster. It was a very terrifying satanic monster. Its mouth was like a cave, and its teeth were protruding outwards like white stones. It seemed as if a rock was swimming rapidly towards John, and the cave within it had presented a ghastly sight, and its teeth were appearing like sharp white stones. John was looking at it intently. Today, he was truly going to encounter a terrifying beast. John had never seen such a terrifying demonic monster until today. Undoubtedly, it was a terrifying and ghastly monster and was moving very rapidly towards John so that it could finish him and digest him. But John did not care about it at all, and he had not even a little bit of fear. He was standing there firmly gripping his sword and was waiting to finish it. Strange, terrifying screams were coming out of the demonic monster's mouth. Its tail was very long. John knew that the demonic monster makes its prey breathless through its tail, and then presses the lifeless body in its teeth and starts eating with great relish. Soon, the monster came right in front of John. Then it turned rapidly. It possessed amazing agility. But John proved to be far more agile than it. He immediately, using his agility, moved out of the reach of its strong and terrifying tail. The demonic monster had made its first strike with its tail, but John's agility made it unsuccessful. John became safe by coming out of the reach of its tail, and he rapidly struck at its returning tail. It also withdrew its tail with the speed of lightning, and it too escaped the reach of John's tremendous attack. John was very surprised by this agility of its. Excited sounds were coming out of the demonic monster's mouth. It was in a state of great anger over this failure of its. Its dead-looking eyes glared at John. If there had been anyone else in John's place, they would have fallen unconscious just by looking towards such ghastly and terrifying eyes. But this was John, who had seen even more terrifying and horrifying sights than this. However, he knew how to deal with all these difficulties. John was the king of beasts, savages, and terrifying calamities. He growled loudly. "So, are you scared, you terrifying beast? Come and attack again. Perhaps you might succeed in devouring me." How could it understand John's words? But it was getting severely angry at John's actions. In the next moment, it moved forward rapidly. It turned at once and began coming toward John again. John let out a loud shout. "Good! Yes, this attack of yours will be very tremendous." The demonic monster came to the other side of John with the speed of lightning. With full power and speed, it made a strike with its terrifyingly long and strong tail toward John's waist. John amazingly leaped into the air and jumped to one side and once again moved out of the reach of the demonic monster's strike. As fast as the demonic monster had struck at John, with that same speed, John also made a full strike on its tail with his sword. Despite being extremely agile, the demonic monster could not save its tail from John's strike, and half of its tail, after being cut off, fell down into the seawater. The demonic monster let out a horrified scream. Its scream was so terrifying that panic and terror spread throughout the land of Akriba, and a commotion was created everywhere. People and animals became terrified and began to run here and there. Over this success of his, John was also letting out terrifying screams. At that time, both had become like terrifying beasts and were screaming, due to which the inhabitants of the land of Akriba were hiding here and there in fear. They had become so terrified that they even lost consciousness of their own children. It turned rapidly toward John and leaped toward him to attack with its cut tail. Fountains of blood burst forth from its tail, and because the dark reddish blood was falling into the seawater, the water also kept becoming reddish. Now there was no agility left in the attack of this satanic monster. John did not move even slightly from his place, and rapidly, with full power, he made another strike and cut its remaining tail as well. This satanic monster began to let out terrifying screams, and John also started to scream and shout over his victory. Now its tail had remained very small. The satanic monster could not take any work from this tail now. Therefore, it opened its mouth and leaped toward John's leg. It was filled with extreme passion, anger, and rage. Just as its mouth came toward John's leg, John pulled his leg away in an extremely agile manner, and jumping up, he thrust the sword inside its eye with a full strike. The sword kept entering into its eye, and through piercing its eye, it entered deep inside. When John pulled the sword, a fountain of blood gushed out from its eye. Its blood was foul-smelling. Stench and only stench had spread there. John moved aside. Its eye had come out. Now it was letting out heart-wrenching screams while looking at him with the second eye, and he was filled with rage. He turned back toward John in frustration. John leaped up and plunged his sword into its other eye as well. Now both eyes of the satanic monster had been burst, and it was screaming in a ghastly manner. A great lamentation was caused by its screams. It had gone mad and was turning here and there to catch John in its mouth. John came from the other side and made a tremendous attack with his sword on its neck, and the sword passed through, piercing its neck. After that, with a terrifying scream, the satanic monster breathed its last. The body of the satanic monster had become still. John let out a horrific scream of his victory and began to wash the sword with the seawater. His blue eyes were wildly expressing joy. Gradually, the horror and ferocity vanished from his eyes, and he put the sword back in the scabbard. Then he rapidly came toward the shore in a calm manner. After coming out of the water, John corrected his appearance and began walking toward the valley. The sun had risen quite high, and he had not been able to have breakfast yet. He was feeling intense hunger. After running some distance, he swung from the branch of a strong tree. He estimated in this way that this branch would not break by his swinging. Therefore, after swinging well on it, he jumped toward another tree and began to swing after catching the strong and healthy branch of the second tree. In the next moment, he was swinging after catching the branch of the third tree. In this same way, he kept moving rapidly toward the valley through the trees. Coming into the valley, he sat on a thick branch of a tree and began looking toward the spring. There, a fat and fresh goat was standing drinking the sweet and cold water of the spring. John was waiting for it to turn back. As soon as the goat turned after drinking water and passed near the same tree where John was sitting, he immediately jumped on it and took its neck in the grip of his arm. The goat became troubled by this sudden calamity and began trying to get out of John's grip. But this was John's grip from which great jinns and giants could not escape. What was this ordinary goat? Where was it in its power to escape from John's grip? John had finished great, terrifying, and ghastly beasts. What status did an ordinary goat hold before him? Anyway, it was his prey, and he was going to roast and eat it. In the next moment, John, while struggling, gave a jerk to the goat's neck. The sound of a scream echoed faintly in the atmosphere. In the next moment, the bone of its neck had broken, and the goat began to writhe. John, leaving it on the grass, turned the dagger on its neck. A fountain of red blood came from its neck. In the next moment, the goat breathed its last with a slight jerk. When the goat became cold, then John removed its skin with his dagger, threw it on a bush, and made pieces of its meat. Then he looked around, and at some distance he saw green bushes that could burn. He rushed toward those bushes and uprooted them along with the roots. Making a bundle of the bushes, he came there where he had made the goat's meat. After that, he searched for 2 pieces of flint stones, and bringing them, rubbed them on the bundle of bushes. At that very moment, sparks showered from them, fell on the bundle, and the green bushes caught fire. In the next moment, the fire flared up and turned into flames. When the flames became quite high, then John began roasting the goat's meat on those flames with the help of a dagger. The bushes were burning like dry wood. There was oil in the leaves and branches of the bushes which was burning. By burning these bushes, the savage people used to cook food for themselves. They used to roast meat and used the thick twigs of their branches to light their huts. How they used to burn like a candle! There were such trees also present whose wood also burns. Thick branches of the trees were burned as torches. John used to keep such torches lit day and night in his hut. In big huts, such kinds of torches remained lit, and their light was quite bright. John soon roasted the meat and put the pieces of roasted meat on the green grass. Then he went toward the sea, and after washing the dagger, kept it in the loincloth. Then he drank the cold water of the sea. After that, he came back there where the roasted meat of the goat was lying. He picked up a piece of meat and began to eat it. His sharp teeth were moving rapidly on the meat, and he was eating the meat by tearing it apart greedily. He had become very hungry, therefore he was enjoying eating the meat. Oh! At that very moment, those small devil jinns jumped from the front rock and came near him. John was startled seeing them, and he immediately pulled 2 pieces of meat away. But one big piece came into the possession of the jinns. They had pulled that piece toward themselves with their claws and had sunk their teeth into it. In the next moment, both small devil jinns were letting out slight growls while tearing the meat apart with great relish. John was eating meat, but he was in a state of severe anger and was thinking that once they finish the meat, then he will give them a tremendous punishment. He would not let them go back alive. John was eating the meat rapidly, filled with rage. He finished the meat. Both small devil jinns were also chewing the last pieces of meat. John was growling at the jinns in a bad manner. "Eat, eat the meat. Soon you will sleep in the embrace of death." John was muttering, but it was as if the jinns did not have even a little bit of care for him. They were tearing the meat apart with great absorption. Within a few moments, they also finished eating the meat and began to growl, looking at John in a bloody manner. John glared at them and growled, "You have committed insolence against King John. You have forcibly eaten his prey. Now you will get the punishment of death." Both small devil jinns growled, "What is your audacity to give us the punishment of death? We did not enjoy the taste of the roasted meat. Now we will eat your flesh and drink your blood. Then we will enjoy it and be satisfied.
Whether you are a king or a robber, we do not have even a little bit of care for this matter. We will definitely eat your flesh. You cannot kill us. We will finish you." At that very moment, John, filled with passion, took out the dagger from the loincloth and began to wave it toward them. Now horror and ferocity began to reflect from his eyes, and he was appearing as a terrible monster. They were glaring at him in a savage manner and were growling. Now John also turned toward them and was growling in their same manner. In these growls there was hatred and contempt. They were filled with rage.
Both small devil jinns leaped at him. They had spread their claws while attacking, and a bloody ghost had possessed them. Now John also became a bloody monster. He leaped from his place and moved aside. Where John was standing, the small devil jinns came and fell there. John's eyes were fixed on them. He leaped like lightning and made a full strike with the knife on the neck of one small devil jinn. John had made the strike with such intensity that the small devil jinn could not even turn before its neck was cut and fell far away. In the next moment, the second small devil jinn was filled with anger, and it pounced and attacked John, but John did not have even a little bit of care for it. John, in the blink of an eye, went and stood on the second stone, and the small jinn, leaping, fell on the other side. John immediately handled the knife, and as soon as the small devil jinn fell in front of him, he, before its recovery, made a full strike with the dagger on its neck and cut its jugular vein. Its neck hung down. With a sharp growl, it began to writhe on the grass while staggering and breathed its last. The first small devil jinn was lying dead on one side, and the second also died along with it, writhing in pain. Then John, while putting his feet on the dead bodies of both, let out a loud scream as an announcement of his victory. Due to his terrifying scream, a commotion was created in the land of Akriba, and a turmoil arose among all the animals and birds, and becoming terrified, they began to run here and there. Birds were flying from the trees in fear, and screaming were flying beneath the white clouds. They were flying here and there. Above, the blue sky was sparkling, and in front, the sea was making a noise. It was a very attractive sight. John came toward the sea again, and after washing the dagger, he kept it in the loincloth, and after drinking water, he headed toward the land of apples, Akriba. Coming into the land of apples, Akriba, John plucked apples and started eating them. He ate plenty of apples, and then he came to that place where he had placed stone bowls with the trees. In them, syrup was dripping drop by drop from the trunks of the trees. That syrup is extremely delicious. Its color is purple. All the inhabitants of Africa use it, due to which their best energies remain maintained and people stay healthy. This syrup is drunk with great dedication, taste, and passion. John used to drink 8 to 10 bowls of this syrup every day and used to be happy. Countless bowls were attached to the trunks of the trees. By making a small hole in the trunks of the trees with a knife or dagger, a small straw is stuck in it, or a small and thin branch is stuck, through which the syrup keeps dripping drop by drop into the bowls. When the bowl becomes full, the Africans pick it up and take it away. Many bowls used to get full, and syrup would start flowing from them, and there would be no one to pick them up. John started picking up the bowls and drinking. He placed the empty bowls back against the trunks and moved forward. His direction was toward the sea. He had not gone very far yet, when suddenly 4 small devil jinns appeared from behind the rock and came in front of John. John was startled seeing them and began to glare at them. Seeing him, the small devil jinns began to growl in a bloody manner. John understood that they want to eat his flesh and drink his blood. But to eat John's flesh and drink his blood was not an easy matter for them. John held the power to kill them. He was the king of the land of Akriba, and the satanic monster wanted to become the king of the land of Akriba again by killing him. But as long as John was alive, they could not succeed in this. The jinn could not become king again in the presence of John. Therefore, John used to keep fighting wars with them and kept finishing them. Seeing the jinns, he was filled with rage at that time. He immediately took the dagger out of the loincloth, and horror and ferocity began to wave in his eyes. Losing his senses, he now came into madness. He was now appearing as a mad John. The small devil jinns were also growling while looking at him with savage eyes. Waving the dagger, John growled in their same manner. "I feel sad killing you, because I have drunk the milk of your mother the jinn. I consider you my brothers." At that very moment, the 4 small devil jinns growled, "You are not our brother. You are a dangerous beast. You remain thirsty for our blood and remain striving to finish us, and you are killing our generation. We will not leave you alive. We will drink your blood and eat your flesh." John let out a laugh in a ghastly manner, then growled, "You will die. Even this dream of yours will not be fulfilled. I will remain alive, and I will kill you, and I will decorate the floor of my hut with your splendid skins. There, the skins of rebellious beasts like you are already present, and I sleep comfortably every night on the bed of their skins. My friends also rest on those skins." A small devil jinn growled in a thundering voice, "You cannot do such a thing. Our skins cannot become the ornament of the floors of your hut. You will soon become the fuel of our stomach, and we have the power to digest you." Their growls became faint, and they sat on their hind legs. John understood that now those 4 small devil jinns would attack him. Therefore he became ready and gripped the dagger firmly. At that very moment, the small devil jinns leaped loudly toward John, and John leaped and jumped forward and turned with the speed of lightning. Where John was standing, the small devil jinns came and fell at that place. John, jumping with the agility of a monkey, came toward them and with full power thrust the dagger into the neck of one small devil jinn and cut its jugular vein. The small devil jinn's neck hung down, and it staggered and fell down and began to writhe. The second small devil jinn moved its claw toward John. John leaped and came to the other side. On that side, the 4th small devil jinn was present. It moved its claw toward John. John struck its claw with full force with the dagger. The strike was full. Its claw was cut and fell far away. It growled in a terrifying manner and staggered and fell. After falling, it moved its claw at John. John, making a forceful strike, cut its second claw as well and plunged the dagger into its paper-like stomach. With the dagger, he ripped the stomach of the small devil jinn far across. The remaining 2 small devil jinns leaped at him. John, in the blink of an eye, jumped and went to stand on another stone and began to glare at them. They had come and fallen in front of him and were glaring at John in a wrathful manner. John stood before them as a savage monster. He was in severe passion and provocation. He growled, "Run away, wretched jinns." They also growled, "What kind of small devil jinn is he who runs away in fear? We will kill you and eat your flesh." John, after letting out a bloody laugh, growled, "Right there the corpses of your companions are lying. Take a lesson from them and escape. Otherwise you too will be seen lying in a dead state near them. They too had dreamed of drinking my blood and eating my flesh. Run away from here immediately." They growled together, Cowards run away in fear. We are not cowards. We are brave small devil jinns. A small devil jinn can give its life, but cannot run away in fear from the enemy. He growled in a tremendous manner. Then now you too will be killed. The small devil jinns began to growl in a furious manner, and immediately leaped upon him in the same manner they had pounced before. John was not unmindful. He was completely ready for this attack of theirs, and he leaped to the other side. As soon as the small devil jinns fell near him, he growled and struck the dagger on the neck of one small devil jinn. Its neck also got cut and hung down, and a fountain of blood gushed out. It fell spinning and died after writhing for some time. Now the lone small devil jinn was standing, growling while glaring at John in a savage manner. "I will not leave you alive." John growled in a triumphant manner. "Your 3 companions have breathed their last. They have been killed at my hands. I give you a chance to escape. Save your life, and thank God that your life was saved." The small devil jinn growled in a voice full of rage. "I will only rest after drinking your blood." John also growled, "I will break your breath right now." The small devil jinn immediately leaped upon him, but he jumped aside. He turned after moving out of the small devil jinn's reach. As soon as the small devil jinn fell, he moved his dagger toward its neck with full strength. The small devil jinn tried to leap, but it was slightly delayed, and John's dagger cut more than half of its neck like a carrot. The small devil jinn fell with a sharp growl and died after writhing. John was glaring at it in a bloody manner. The next day, a man from Kafpur came to John and said, "Please help us." John said, "What is the matter? What has happened?" The man said, "A satanic monster has arrived here and eats our people day by day. It is not coming under our control. Please do something, otherwise we people will be ruined." John set out toward Under Nagri with that man. When John reached Under Nagri, there were piles of human skeletons far and wide. John said, "Is this the work of that satanic monster?" The man said, "Yes, this satanic monster has intended to erase even our name and trace. For God's sake, rid us of it." John said, "Do not lose heart. God will help us." The people there cried and pleaded before John that the cruel satanic monster was finishing them off. John consoled everyone and said, "Do not worry, I will finish it."
At night, John gathered all the people in one place and said, "You stay here. No one should go here or there. I will see how it attacks." Everyone went to sleep peacefully. John began to stroll here and there and wait for that satanic monster. Suddenly, terrifying sounds began to come from afar. John understood that it was coming. John rushed toward that direction. The sounds were coming continuously. John was looking here and there with agility. There was a dense grove of trees here. Suddenly, the sounds stopped coming. John became cautious and began to walk slowly. Suddenly, the branches of a tree moved toward John and took John in their grip. John tried 1,000,000 times to free himself, but they were tightening their circle. John took out his dagger and began to cut the branches because now he began to feel suffocated. After a great struggle, John freed himself from the branches and ran back. Suddenly, John began to hear the sounds of screams from over there. John ran even faster. When John reached there, a woman was crying. John asked what happened. That woman said, "What is to happen? That satanic monster has picked up and taken away my daughter." John ran in the direction where the satanic monster had taken that girl. John was looking here and there. The sea appeared in front. A corpse was lying near the sea. John ran and reached there. The corpse of that girl was lying in front. The satanic monster had eaten all her meat and only bones were left. John's body began to tremble with anger. He began to scream with rage. "I will not leave you, you dog of a satanic monster. Tomorrow night will be the last night of your life." John reached back there, walking slowly and unsuccessfully, and people were looking at John with questioning eyes. John said, "Do not be afraid. Tomorrow night will be the last night of this devil." In the morning, John began arrangements for the satanic monster. He placed piles of wood in various places and joined some people of the tribe with him. John completed the security arrangements around the area. Now John was waiting for night to fall. As soon as it was evening, John locked all the women and children in a big hut, and then stationed a man near the pile of wood.
John set fire to all the piles of wood, and himself began to stroll here and there. Now every moment was passing like a century. Suddenly, John thought of a trick. He disappeared from there. Now the people who were standing near the fire began to tremble with fear because they could not face that devil. Suddenly, terrifying sounds began to come from their side. John understood that the satanic monster was now acting with cleverness. Instead of going toward where the sounds were coming from, John headed in the other direction. Now he was passing carefully from behind the trees. John saw a long, headless, satanic figure from behind 2 trees. John climbed a tree and hid in the leaves. When it passed from there, John jumped on it with a thud. That headless, satanic figure caught John and threw him far away. John got up again and rushed toward the headless, satanic figure. The headless, satanic figure again caught John by the head and threw him far away.
Unconsciousness began to prevail over John, and everything began to appear blurry to him, and finally, he became unconscious. The headless, satanic figure now moved toward the settlement. Those who were on guard fled upon seeing the headless figure. When John's senses were restored, the satanic monster was gone. John ran toward the settlement. The headless satanic figure, escaping the flames of the fire, rushed toward the hut and broke the door. The screams of the women rang out. In the meantime, John attacked and gripped the headless figure tightly. The headless figure again caught John and threw him toward the fire platform, but John fell on the other side. The headless satanic figure rushed toward John with anger. John got up quickly and with full force struck a piece of wood on the headless figure's stomach. The headless satanic figure fell into the fire platform and then was burnt to ashes in the fire. As soon as the headless satanic figure was finished, smoke began to spread there, and John also closed his eyes and began to cough. A little while later, when John opened his eyes, the headless satanic figure and its disciples had disappeared.